before I forget. So.
How many people usually can be on the Google Hangout?
14 plus me
Okay.
at any one time, and then whoever wants to watch on the YouTube feed can do that. So I suggest the YouTube feed is for, I know I can't participate for whatever reason. I'm at work. I'm at my kid's soccer game. I'm already everyone in the house is in bed, so I've got my headphones on or whatever, that kind of thing. So it's a way for, and it's also a way for, if you want to watch the class again for whatever reason, you can go back and review all the salient points of the class.
Do we have to sign up somewhere in order to
There
get
is
the
a
invitation?
shared Google Doc for each of the virtual classes that we have. So I ask, are you going to either be an active participant in the Hangout? If you're going to, that's fine. And if you're not, then you sign up to I'm just going to watch the stream on YouTube. And then if you want to contribute something, you just throw it onto Twitter. You hashtag it GE502, and that's it.
Got it. Okay.
I take it because you're all on, no one had any major problems trying to access the Hangout.
Had to download some new software, but that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to do. So.
Much better than having to drive to Jersey City, I say.
Oh,
that's true.
I came in at the tail end of your introduction here, and I heard you talking about Twitter and the Storify. To keep it quick, just what you've been seeing so far is the general idea.
Is a general idea, and what you'll do is you'll pick a chat, pick something that interests you,
right,
whatever it is, and just engage in that particular discussion. And most people will go back and forth. If you say, oh, it's an interesting comment or something like that, they'll go back and forth. So I think that'll be. You'll find that there will be a lot that you can look at. I'm just looking at the at anybody who's posted. And make sure when you do it, you hashtag it GE502. You can mention me. That's fine. Some of your. I mean, that's fine. And you just got to get involved in the chat. That's all. So, but yeah, and the other stuff's fine. As you see stuff of anything that's that's good, you just throw it out and share it with everybody. So, yeah, that's fine.
So we can do the Twitter early.
Yeah, the Twitter you could do the Twitter tonight if you wanted to. You could engage
Okay.
in chats in, well, 2 out of the 3. The GE502 we're going to do on the when it's scheduled. The all the discussion board stuff you could do early. You know,
Okay.
there's nothing, like I said, you don't have to really wait for anything,
To be
Okay.
done.
you know, to do. You can do it at your own pace, whatever that pace might be.
So, Professor, are you saying that there's not a due date?
No, there's a due date. I'm saying you don't have to wait
You
until
have to wait. Okay.
it says it on the syllabus for you to do it. If you want to do it tonight, you could do that. The only thing that you can't do is the GE502 Twitter chat. That has to be done on that Wednesday night. But everything else, whatever you want to do, at whatever time you want to do it, that's fine. You know, that's the idea, because it's a web-based course. You're not waiting. You know, if you want to follow the plan, I want to do something week by week, then you can follow the whatchamacallit, the outline. But you don't have to if you don't want to.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I'm here for the, you know, if I see anybody else, you certainly, you can hang, you know, as long as you want. I'm not doing any type of content tonight. Like I said, it was just to get acclimated, you know, make sure you can get on. So, you know, when I send out the email like the next time, boom, this is what I need to do. You know, no issue, so we could start, you know, promptly at 9. So, you know, like I said, that's it. Feel free to stay around if you want, you know, but you can watch me, you know, check report cards. So, or if not, you can get a head start on sleep, which
Okay.
is beckoning. The longer I sit here, the more that's beckoning me.
Oh, good.
But yeah,
Alright.
you know, we're
Mhm.
whatever you need, and make sure if you have questions at some point, whatever you need, make sure you reach out, and I will attempt to answer whatever whatever you need.
Is it necessary that we need a book for this class?
No, I don't require one. If you feel that you want to use one for reference, you can. I note one on the syllabus, but there's nothing that's required. Whatever the few things that I took some stuff out of that book that I provided for you, the 2 case studies. So
Okay.
you don't need to get the book unless you want it.
Oh,
If you don't, then you don't need to.
all right.
So getting involved in a chat means having somebody essentially respond to you and having an ongoing back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, you could start by you see something that you can respond to. You might post something and someone responds to that. It might be, um, someone might like a post and then subsequently, share something with you. All I can tell you is that they move fast. It's
Right.
one of those things you kind of have to, excuse me, you have to, constantly keep an eye on. It's not something you can kind of do, while I'm doing something else because you'll miss the opportunity. And if you're posting and you're having a dialogue with someone, then all of a sudden, if it doesn't, it might just, they might say, okay, I forget it. I'm going to talk to somebody else because you're not paying attention. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
It could start, and it doesn't matter how the conversation starts. You could post a couple things and no one bites on it, and that's fine too. At least you're involved in doing it. So, and you're also going to grow your professional learning network. The people that you have on Twitter, you'll get some likes and follows and whatnot, and you'll start to meet people that are might be studying in graduate school or might be first year teachers or whatever the case is. So.
All right.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
I could hear
Yep.
you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I'm just posting you that there was 5 of us waiting for the past 20 minutes. We were on the old link in the Outlook. I told them I was going to hang up and try and do the link off of the Blackboard, so it
Yeah,
should be here.
generally the link will change each time.
Okay.
So I sent the link via email, and I also sent the invite. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, tell them come, join the party.
Sounds good. Do you want me to go on the other site, and if anybody's still waiting, to tell them how to get on this or no?
You could go back over there if need be, but you could just tell everybody else that they can meander over this way. That's fine.
Okay.
Libraries now.
SCA.
Okay.
On the screen at the top, it says his name in the chat.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hi, Norma.
Thank you, Al.
Anytime.
I'll see you around.
Me too. Good night.
Yep, good night.
Bye.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night. I'm leaving too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Something I said.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out as well. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Good night.
Is there anything in particular you went over earlier on?
No, it was just for you to feel comfortable getting on, getting used to, how to sign on and whatnot. A few people had questions about things, specific things, but nothing major. See email for link to GHO.
When you gave an example in that first class,
Mhm.
when we were on Twitter and we were going down through Twitter, because I joined Twitter and I noticed that you saw that.
Mhm.
I can't see myself like as sending a tweet, and then when we were supposed to like read different educational sites, I went on and I read them, but then when we want to drag a story over, how did we do that?
When let me do this. Hold on. Let's see. Storify. Let's see. Log in with Twitter. Let's do this. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Everybody, you see that?
I
Yes.
see that.
You see my Storify? Okay. So when I'm making, do I have any drafts? You can see all your draft. Edited. No. Edited draft. Okay. This was from a while ago. But this particular one, when you, like, over here, what I would do, you could search, any social media. I'm going to search Twitter, and I'm going to search for, the hashtag might be EdChat. Okay? So I search, this is going to give me anything recent with EdChat. Okay?
Okay.
So whatever I like, I might just drag it over, Okay, that's kind of cool, whatever I think is important, and then I'll publish it, and then I'll notify that it's been published.
Where do you hit the notify?
Well, you publish first, so I'm going to publish this. Now it's publicized. Now I hit view and publicize it,
Okay.
and then I will get, these people have been quoted in my story. As long as they have a check, I will notify all them, and then you can add me. I can spell. You can add me to that, and then I'll get notified as well. And those steps, by the way, now the class I'm streaming on YouTube, so you can go back and play that over, over and over as need be.
Okay.
So, if you need it, but that's the general gist of it. You're going to do the Storify, publicize it, and then notify that it's there. Because when I get the notify, I can go right in and check off that it's done, as opposed to me having to search through your Twitter to try and find, a link for it, or you having to go on a scavenger hunt to try and find it too. So
Okay.
that makes sense?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, like I said to them before, I'm just here for this is how I get on, this is, how I adjust my audio, all that kind of good stuff, so that, when we do the 1 in 2 weeks, I know what to do. I don't have to. The first time I did it, I spent the first meeting not doing classroom management, but how do I get on? How do I get on? Help, help, help. So this makes it hopefully makes life a little bit easier.
Is there ever going to be a time where we would have to either send out an invite ourselves on Google Hangout, or know how to sit there and send out an invitation, or are we always just going to receive a link?
You're always going to receive one. Yeah,
Okay.
You don't have to worry about creating it. It's very simple to do, but you won't have to worry about doing it.
Good enough.
Unless you're
I appreciate
unless
it.
you're collaborating with somebody on something and you want to work together, I've had students in the past do that, do hangouts with one another. So, but other than that, no, you wouldn't need to know how to do it.
Have a good night. I appreciate the help.
All right, Neil. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Just when I thought all the kids were asleep. Hear pitter patter. Why is this?
We can sign out.
I'm sorry?
We can sign out. This is it.
Oh yeah, no, this is it. This is you could sit and watch me for another half hour, or like I said, it was just for people to get, this is how I get on. The first time I taught the course, we spent the first real night, instead of doing classroom management, we talked about, how do I get on? I can't get on. So this is how I get on. So now the next time it's, I know what to expect. This is a piece of cake. So that's all it is. I'm getting work done, so I'm hanging out, till about 10. So that's it. If I don't fall asleep first. So.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
I'll see you in 2 weeks. Yep. Good night.
Is there a way also of getting, because everybody introduced themselves the first day.
Yeah.
So we got a feel for at least who some of the people were. If we wanted to reach out, and if I click on the invite, it shows like the person's first name, but it doesn't give their email address.
You could look in. You could look in. If you go into Blackboard, under Tools, there's something called, I think it's called Roster. Yes, it's called Roster. So you could view a list of, you know what, let me do this. Let me, you see my Blackboard?
I see your Blackboard.
Okay, so under Tools,
Yep.
I go to Roster.
Yep.
And then I would just I would search for anybody who's not blank, and this will give you a list of everybody who's in the class, and subsequently all those who also have created their, their profiles.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you need to contact anybody, you could click on them, and I think you can, once they have an email associated, you could send an email.
Perfect.
So pull this back off. So yeah. So
yeah, because I was gonna give a heads up to Erin. She's in my other class on Tuesday night, and she was snowed in, and I was just gonna tell her what was in that class, and then just remind her about tonight. And she was actually on the other link where I mentioned me and the 5 people were just sitting there.
I saw somebody was let me look at this email. This is my regular St. Peter's.
There was a Talib, a Khalid, the girl, the kinky black hair. Yeah, like I said, there was 5 of us, and we got on there at like 8:55, and then waited till like 9:20, and I said, I'm gonna check other websites, and then
Okay.
I clicked on the other links, and then found it.
Yeah, Aaron. I think it's because he made it. I see Erin. She said something in the other chat, but she never made it over. She never made it over here.
And I didn't know how to do that, send something. So what I did was I just I sent her a regular email, and I don't know if people check their emails.
That's the one that I'm in.
See, now I just got a message on the other one.
Anyone still there?
On my telephone, it says Rosalita, Theodore, Aaron.
Yeah.
Is anyone still here? 9:34.
That was me. I just said, is anyone still here?
Oh, okay.
I can see. People in conversation. They must have. I don't know if they have since disappeared, but I would look.
A lot of them. When I signed off, a lot of them said, "We're getting an A. We're communicating. It's working." So, and then the overall consensus was that you were just hidden watching us to see what we would end up sitting there saying over the course of 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I was. That's my only thing is that and I can always send out a I'll send out something else to the group that I'm still here.
Some of them were probably going on at 9:30, right?
Yeah, because in case I had a full house and it's a little after 9:30. Let me do announcement. Still here. Anyone who didn't get a chance to try the DHL here at nope. I'm here. Oh, there's Stephanie. Okay. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Just throw that one out there. Not date restricted. Send a copy. Submit. Okay. Stephanie, you had no trouble signing on?
I used your link, so
Okay.
that was how I was able to get onto it.
Okay.
With the app. Am I on it correctly? Can you see me?
Yep. I can. Yeah, you have your camera turned off, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. How do I turn it on?
Click on. There's a camera. It's red on the toolbar, right under the address on the top of the screen. There's a camera. You probably have it's red.
No clue.
Wait.
Oh, wait, let
No.
me see.
Thought you had it. In the middle of the screen, of the Hangout screen, you should have there's 6 icons. And the middle one, the third one from the left, is a camera. It's red. There you go.
Okay, cool.
So.
Hello.
So yeah, that was the goal tonight was just that, to make sure you know how to do it, and how to get on. So when we do the discussion in 2 weeks, it's straightforward.
Okay, will you be sending the link?
Yes, I'll be sending a different one in 2 weeks. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll initiate the chat. I'll invite everybody, and then I'll also follow up with the link via email, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before we start.
Okay, great, perfect.
Okay.
Are there other social media sites other than Twitter that we should have actually been signed up for?
Nope, Twitter's it. I mean, I recommend establishing like a LinkedIn profile and using that to create also like that a personal learning network. But other than that, No, I think that's that's fine. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
And how high above the ground are we in this picture?
Very high, I guess. I don't know, maybe like 4,000 feet?
That
I'm
was
on
something
my
that I
phone.
thought I wanted to do was jump out of a plane. So
It's a lot of fun. It's really scary as you're going up, but the second they open the door, you're kind of like, okay, it's happening, and it's like awesome.
okay.
Definitely do
Where
it.
did you go?
I went to Skydive Jersey.
Okay.
I think it's
I
out
went in
west.
Pennsylvania last year.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Aaron, you had no trouble getting on?
You know, I have to be honest, it's easier on my phone than it was online.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because it's like a better speaker system.
Okay.
We were in a bigger chat before.
Yeah, I heard there was a rogue chat going on.
Oh.
But I think I sent out the invite and I also sent out the link. So I'm assuming you use the app on your phone?
I'm using the app on my phone right now before I was using it on the computer.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. Whatever you end up feeling comfortable with is, whatever works.
Okay.
So, as long as you get something that works and you're comfortable with it, then that's the whole idea of tonight is just to test it out. That's it. There's no real discussion or anything. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm comfortable at this point,
Okay.
so I'm going to sign off.
Okay. I'll see you virtually in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. So
All right.
we have nothing this week?
Next week is just the first Twitter. Whatever,
Okay.
at any point, when you want to be, if you're following the timeline. If not, you can do that, like I said, whenever you want.
So
Perfect.
I'm sorry, when you follow a timeline, like you're supposed to watch it for a certain amount of time? Or it's like a specific thing that you want us to look for?
We're talking about the Twitter?
Yes.
The Twitter is you pick a Twitter chat, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And you're going to engage in that particular chat for, generally most of them last about an hour.
Okay.
You're going to, you can either lurk for a little bit and then, get active if you want to. You could, some of them will have guided questions at certain times. So like the first question might be introduce yourself, and then at 8:03 might be the first question, and then you would just answer the question, and then people kind of start branching off from there, or talking about the topic at hand. Generally, it's not a total free for all. There's there's some guided questions.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think that's pretty much the gist of it, and you I'm not going to grade you on the content of those the tweets and all that. I'm just making sure that it's done because you should, you're going to know what's quality based on what you put in the Storify.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it's okay that should we like not be private, our Twitter?
It's going to make it difficult if it is, because if someone wants to follow you, then then you'd have to accept them.
Right.
Like Twitter to me isn't that big of a deal. Mine's public. Like my Instagram is private. All my other social media, my LinkedIn and my Twitter are public. Everything else is private.
Okay.
There's really not much on there that is damning. So.
Right. I've just had mine forever, so it's always been private.
Yeah.
I guess I could make it public for this time.
Up to you. I mean, that you could have it private. The only thing is that if you tweet something, all the only people that can see it are your followers. So at least make sure that I'm able to, that I'm a follower, so that I can at least see it.
Okay.
So other than that, it doesn't, it doesn't terribly matter. I'm not going to force you to go one way or the other. So whatever you feel comfortable with.
All right. Thank you.
And going off the, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay, going off the Twitter thing, when you create an account, like you put your actual information in.
You know what? It really doesn't matter. As long as I know, even if you're going to use some, pseudonym or fictitious name, as long as I know that's your handle, that's fine.
Okay, perfect.
You know, I don't care. I don't care what you call yourself as long as I know. Either you put a picture of yourself in your profile, or you tell me, hey, this is, privately you email me and say this is who I am, so I know this is not some nut that I'm following.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Any other questions or concerns? Because this is my virtual office hour, so much, like I said before, much better than driving in Jersey City.
Absolutely.
Very true. For the observation project, one of my attorneys is also a professor, and
Okay.
she said I can go to her, I think she said it was Crawford County, it's college. Could it be a college, or? But she teaches paralegal studies, but it's a college.
If you have to. I'd like it to be K-12, but if it has to be higher ed, that's not at the end of the world.
Okay.
As a last resort, yes. If you can't find anything else, I'm fine with
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
that. Couldn't stay away, huh, CB?
No, well, as soon as I signed off, it's like anything. When you leave a class, then all of a sudden you think of a question.
Go right
So
ahead.
I hung up, and then I was thinking of when you were mentioning if you take stories from the chat that you're following or that you're in, and you put them onto Storify, and you go to Notify, is there, when you were using as an example in class that GE502?
Yep.
Is that the class?
That's my hashtag. So if I
It's your
post anything class related, I'm going to hashtag it with GE502.
So if I send something to GE502, does it just go to you, or does it go to the rest of the class?
It'll go to anybody who's searching for that hashtag.
At that time.
If you say @Al Spiegel, I'll get a notification. But if you hashtag it, when I go and look for anything that says GE502, then I'll see it at that point.
But there's no group set up for the class where if I send something like information that I'm following, like this is good, click, that it would include everybody in the class.
No, the idea is that if you hashtag it G502 and anybody who's following that, would see it. And if you mention me in that, I might retweet it so that anybody who's following me would see it.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So that was it. I'll probably not be back.
Don't threaten. Okay. Mark is red. So everybody else's classes are okay? Are we taking other classes besides mine?
Yes.
What do we have?
Assessment and ability, I believe.
I taught special ed assessment or regular assessment?
Regular assessment.
I taught that once. That totally screwed up my head in terms of
Really?
how I think about assessment. Oh yeah, as a teacher, I waived it when I was in the program, but when I taught it, did that really I started doing crazy stuff. I had less of a need for giving homework. I started to really think about why I tested the questions that I tested with.
Huh.
yeah, like the idea of always assessing, of pre-assessing, I'm assessing even when, you think I'm not. Assessment is not just when you give a test, I'm looking over your shoulder or as you're speaking and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I
Hmm.
really screwed up my head. I taught it once, um, and it really, I think I learned more from me teaching it than I learned, anything else.
Really?
But, yeah, yeah. And then I was in a Twitter chat about a year ago, and it was, I think I said this in class. It was throw away the grade book, and why do you give grades? And it was very provocative thinking. And I was the kid who, like, I gotta get, what's my grade? I gotta get a good grade. And you know and now it's kind of like I tell the kids, I'm like, it's all right, it's not the end of the world, it's just a number. And they're like, oh no, it's okay. And I really said, that was 2011 when I taught that course, and I've been messed up in the head ever since, because I've challenged myself in how I assess, and why I assess, and what's the goal of the work that I'm giving, and why am I giving it, and you know um, and how am I grading it, and am I grading it too easily, too harshly, all that stuff.
It
Very
makes
interesting.
sense.
I'm sorry.
I said it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a fun class. It was the first one after the 502 that I taught. So. I was kind of bummed I didn't get to teach it again, because I really did enjoy looking at all these different pieces of assessment. We ripped apart, at the time it was NJ Ask. We looked at standardized tests. We looked at that was one assignment. What the hell was that? It was writing an assessment plan, like the how and why you're going to assess. Not like a lesson plan, but like, okay, here's my plan for my test. It was a very interesting exercise that that the students did. And then it was, okay, well, what did you do, and so forth. Yeah, it was a good class. Too bad I can't teach that again.
It seems like my professor seems to be very into testing. He was talking, and like assessment and stuff. He was talking a lot about it. He was like, well, how could it be useful, and like, how are we going to use SGOs? Like, he seems very for it.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with setting goals. Out of good intentions come bad laws. I don't think there's anything wrong with setting goals, for your class, and making it a quantifiable thing. Like, this is what, by the end of the year, like, I want my students are here, and I want to get them, to a different level. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think there's a lot of confusion, and so, do I do this? Or there's a lot of, oh, sure, I can make it look like they learned something.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea of, having a goal. You spend the first month of school getting to know your kids, and then saying, all right, this is where I want to be by the end of the year, or this is something that I want you to learn, which I think is fine. But I think that's turned into somehow I'm a good or a bad teacher based on how these kids do on one test.
That's true.
So that I have no use for. But I like measurable goal setting. I think I encourage teachers to do that. Find there's something with this class where you want to take them by the end of the year. It's one thing when I teach AP, because the curriculum's pretty cookie cut. But when I teach a regular class, or what do I want to do by the end of the semester, or the end of the year. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. The why you assess, I think, is a good question. Are you we went to computer-based testing last year, and one of the things that we throw around is we ask our teachers, well, do you give essays? And they'll say, oh yeah. Do the kids know that ahead of time, what the essays are? Well, of course not. So let's say you've got, you got to answer 3 out of 5 essays, or whatever the case is, and you've got X amount of time to do it in, but you've got no pre-knowledge of the question. So I've got to look at the question, come up with an answer that is okay based on the time that I have. It's not very well thought out. It's, first thing comes to mind, boom, 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 and that's it. Okay. Or do I say, here's 10 essay questions, I'm going to give you 3 of them. I'm going to give you 5. You're going to have to answer 3, but you could prepare them ahead of time so that when you walk into that test, you've got at least an idea of what it is you're going to, to write about. And then I'll say, what's so wrong with that? And then, some of the traditionalists, oh, this is, that's awful, blah, blah. It's not really that bad because I remember doing it when I was a kid, and you get much better quality answers because the kids have thought about it and prepared the questions.
It's true.
So but that rattles people when they don't, So why are you a gotcha? Because you're not going to give any, not give a study guide, or you're not going to give any type of, help. I give my undergraduates when I teach classes that involve an exam, I'll give them a huge study sheet, and I'll even go through and look at the exam and make sure that I've got every concept on the exam on the study sheet, so that there's no surprises. Because if you prepare for the test ahead of time, then you're learning while you're preparing for the test. So that like I said, that class really it really left me thinking. As the teacher, left me thinking with a lot. There are some people that they say you got to have PARC and you got to have standardized tests. They have their place. I'm not going to say I'm anti-standardized tests. I like the fact that the AP test measured how well I did after a year. But that I do like that it validates, at least for the most part, the work that I did, because the kids knew enough to pass the test. Now, did they know enough content or test strategy? I don't know, but I think they're gonna the PARC's gonna come again to the limelight with who's gonna opt out and whatnot, just like we saw last year. That'll start happening in the next month or so, and it'll there'll be a renewed discussion of is this appropriate? Is it necessary? My oldest son would take it next year, and we have to decide is he going to take it, or is he going to we're going to opt out? Is it necessary? Is it necessary to put? I look at the curriculum now, early elementaries in 2nd grade, and I'm looking at, wow, you're doing PARC prep already based on this, like the Saxton math curriculum. If you're familiar, definitely it's PARC prep. We're doing 100 math facts in 5 minutes. It is we're prepping for PARC, and
the
teacher.
hard thing is, sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
I was gonna say the hard thing is a lot of the kids don't use the computers until closer to the time.
Yeah.
So I've been in classrooms where I've seen kids doing tons and tons of work on paper, and then all of a sudden it's like March, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to take the computers out, and the kids don't know how to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm fighting that same battle. When we shifted to computer-based testing, I've got teachers that use it for the midterm and for the final, but they're not using it in class at all. So for the kids, some of them it's foreign, whereas opposed to other classes, they use it a couple times a week. So it's like, oh yeah, this is just another test I'm taking on the computer. This the more they and that has to be part of it, especially with the younger kids with PARC. They have to be exposed to typing, using the mouse, how do I navigate questions and all that stuff. So when it comes time for the real thing, that's not a worry. And there are a lot of districts when Hespy came and he spoke. This was at St. Peter's last fall, a year ago fall maybe. They did an alumni thing, and he came and spoke, and he said that 90% of the school districts in New Jersey would be ready. It was last year to take the PARC. Technology-wise, they're all ready, 90%, and everyone just kind of went, "Oh, okay, 90%, really interesting." Not sure any of us agreed with the 90%, but that was, most people. I don't think we're ready from a technology standpoint. The kids weren't getting enough time just with how do I take a test on the computer? How do I rewrite a problem that's on the screen on the paper, make sure I write it correctly, or how do I solve the problem based on looking at the screen as opposed to looking at my book next to me? It was just they needed exposure to that, and some didn't have that. So yeah, it's it'll be an interesting spring again as to, and of course the papers won't make it any better, but it'll be interesting to see what becomes of it, and if it's, how long it survives. I don't know.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Just like
It's always-
everything.
Yeah, it's an interesting time to be a teacher. Aaron, remind me, you're in elementary?
I'm in elementary, yeah. I'm trying to do K-5 or K-6, whatever it is now.
Okay. Yeah, K to 6.
Okay.
No.
It's K-5, right?
K to 5. You're right. It's K to
Okay.
5. Yeah, elementary is I've like I said, I've done, I guess because of my kids and then doing, one reconciliation workshop with a bunch of second graders, I'm like, wow, this is not high school. It's very interesting, but at the same time, it's not, I'm at that point where it's like I like to do things professionally that are different, because I like to try it. I'm like, wow, okay, this is interesting. I'm not sure that I could teach, young elementary, but you never know. It's just all about, it's the same principle. Excuse me, you have to plan your lesson, all that kind of stuff. It's nothing's really different. It's just the age group you're working with.
Right.
So.
I mean, I like work in a preschool now, so I could never imagine teaching them.
Sure.
Because it's a completely different setting.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of, I guess it's similar to high school, but it's like teaching the same lesson almost every single day.
Yeah, like there's a point where I like to, all right, we got to move on. We got to do something for my sanity. We got to do something different. But yeah, and the other thing is though that the second grades in my son's school are all horizontally aligned. They're doing the same homework. They're moving at the same pace.
Wow.
So there's not an issue of if well, what if this class needs to spend more time on it? You're on Saxton Math lesson X, regardless of what class you're in. So there's a very strong push for horizontal alignment because there's
How do they adjust with that? What happens if a kid falls behind? It's just extra work?
They have to somehow make it up in the course of that time period, because otherwise they don't want the class to fall behind because they want to get through. They're doing anywhere from like 3 to 5 lessons a week.
Right.
And they want to get to a point where they're doing certain concepts because I know they're preparing them for next year's park. So, and they're not going to even finish the curriculum, but I don't think that's not the fault of the teacher. It's the fault of well, our ambitions high, or what by the end of the course in the second grade, what do we want the kids to do mathematically, for example? And I don't know if they're I don't know if they'll all be ready, and it stinks, for the kids that are falling behind, but you can't teach the pace of the slowest learner. You got to teach to whatever the prescribed curriculum is, because you got to finish it.
Correct.
So yeah. So it's always an interesting time to be an educator in New Jersey, because there's never a dull moment in terms of what's going on. So that's for sure. So
that's good though.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is. I mean, it's because there's always stuff to it's interesting to see what's going on, but also to be a part of it. I mean, there's some people that are oh, you're in a Catholic school. I'm like, yeah, but what does that matter? I'm still a teacher. Like that doesn't that doesn't change anything. So but yeah, but keeping an eye on what's going on. There's some legal stuff in various school districts that are going on that could lend itself to a bigger arena. That stuff's always I kind of like to watch, because some of the biggest court cases, Tinker and Jesus, brain fart. TLO, some of these, that's where they started, as simple, simple high school incidents or whatever, or simple grammar school, whatever, and it just kind of, they become big tickets. So you know, there's like I like watching that kind of stuff, especially in New Jersey, you know, to see, you know, what happens. So
Okay.
all right. So anything else I can help or assist you with?
No, that's perfect. I will see you on the chat next week.
Or
Or 2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
Sorry.
All right. Very
All
good.
right.
Good night, Aaron.
Have a great night.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.